ready, willing, and able to make a deal on DACA, but I don't think the Democrats want to make a deal. And the folks from DACA should know the Democrats are the ones that aren't going to make a deal.
Welcome back to Harvard. That was President Trump down in Florida last night blaming Democrats for the lack of a deal on DACA. He also tweeted yesterday DACA is probably dead because the Democrats don't really want it. They just want to talk and take desperately needed money away from the military. I don't know what that's about. Congress has until midnight, as I said, this Friday night to avoid a government shutdown. They can't do it without Democratic votes. It takes 60 votes in the Senate and a majority in the House. Democrats are demanding a deal to protect DACA recipients, of course, the Dreamers. Republicans, meanwhile, don't want to vote for a DACA provision unless it contains border security. In other words, the wall. The president says it's got to include the wall and an end to the visa lottery system, something else he doesn't want because that means more poor people coming into the country from those places he described so eloquently last week. While both sides appear to have come close to a deal last week, negotiations were upended following reporting on the president's vulgar comment, which I mentioned. Let's bring in tonight's Hardball Roundtable. They got to be swift tonight. A lot to discuss. Jonathan Swan's national political reporter for Axios. Vivian Salama is national political reporter for NBC News. And Jason Johnson, who's on a lot, is politics editor for The Root and MSNBC political contributor. So starting along the line here in order, first of all, Jonathan, what are the issues between now and Friday night to get done that have to do with immigration? What are they?
Well, they're not going to get it done by Friday night. And it's just not true that they were close to a deal last week. This group that was sort of fated as the bipartisan gang of six, it was a fantasy. It was Dick Durbin picked the most squishy Republicans on this issue, Lindsey Graham and Jeff Flake, who do not represent their conference. They are very, very moderate and sympathetic on the issue of immigration. And unbeknownst to the hardliners, this deal was carved out, which didn't satisfy any of their demands.
You're going to have any deal that will satisfy people like Purdue?
Well, you certainly won't by this Friday. You certainly won't by this Friday.
Okay, Vivian, your thoughts. Are you as pessimistic? Are we going to watch all the parks and zoos close down?
It's not looking good, Chris. Every single funding extension that we've seen so far under the Trump administration has gotten harder and harder to find a resolution to. And here you have a very contentious issue on the table now. I mean, immigration is a hot issue, DACA especially. And so you have the difference in politics plus money involved. It's going to be really hard.
Do Republicans really want to die on the issue of DACA? These kids that were brought here by their parents, they didn't break any laws.
Well, a lot of
it seems to me that would be the soft, most Republicans, I would think, would give on that and say they're not the bad guys.
You have to think about it in terms of constituencies, though. The majority of Democratic districts are where a lot of these DACA recipients reside. And so it really boils down to that, and especially now we're officially in the midterm election year.
No sympathy.
See, here's the thing. This is a game of chicken for Friday, but it's not just chicken for this Friday in the government shutdown. It's really about 2018. It's really about which message is going to work better. The Democrats saying, hey, this shutdown happened because Trump wanted a wall. The Republicans saying this shutdown happened because they want a bunch of illegals.
Well, what about the Washington Post, which is, it's not as liberal as it used to be, but came out, cut a deal. It said in the lead editorial last week, cut a deal, give them some wall, and get these huge numbers of people, hundreds of thousands of young people protected. Isn't that a decent deal?
There's a lot of people that really want just the full DACA resolution to go out as it was, untouched, but the Republicans want to rip it up and
that
include
takes 60
the
votes.
Border security. That's a lot of money, is what it is. It's a lot of money.
There is no
security.
Deadline for DACA this Friday. Right. This is a deadline imposed by Democrats and, frankly, imposed by the Democratic base. There are actually a lot of Democrats in states that Trump won, Claire McCaskill being one of them, Senator, who feel actually quite uncomfortable about the idea of shutting
liberals,
down the government.
The progressives thinks they've got Trump by the shorts on this one. They got
That's absolutely right, but the Democrat Party is divided between those two.
These will be eaten alive.
Okay, will we have a government shutdown Friday night?
Yes.
Vivian?
Probably.
No, I think they do a two-week short term.
Oh, short term. Okay, let's go to this question.